about to get serious here!
There's no way you win against me now.
Alright everyone, JB here, and we're back with another Dragon Ball Legends video on the channel today. Now today, we're basically going to be going over pretty much a tier list. I would definitely say there's been a few updated characters since the last one, obviously. A few spots been moved around, with us recently getting Golden Frieza about a week ago, and then also LF Super Baby 2 about 2 weeks ago. So it's gonna be interesting because I do have a few spots that I moved some characters around, but overall, you know, we got the looming nemesis campaign, and then sometime soon this month, and then we should definitely be seeing a new campaign start up later on this month, since we just got the free-to-play Raditz. So do keep that in mind, because next month is the anniversary. Between the 25th to the 28th is around when it's gonna start. We don't have an official date yet, obviously, because they're not promoting it yet, but just do keep that in mind for those people that are kind of considering what they should spend their crystals on. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. You know, I'm just throwing out my opinion out there. But first things first, as always, if you're new around here, consider leaving a like on the video and join the channel, because it is very much appreciated. Now first things first, we're gonna do it like we always do. There's nothing but LF and Ultra characters, and we're gonna have our top 10 list, and then at the bottom we have our honorable mention, meaning the 11th through 15th spot. So I wanted to be clearly noted, like I always do with these tier lists. My opinion, you know, it's all just on my opinion, and at the end of the day, it's also just on like the meta and how the character performs too. So everyone is not gonna have the same placements, you know, because every time I make tier lists, there's always one guy coming in there being super like negative about it, and it's like, bruh, you know, it's like, hey, I appreciate your opinion, but you don't have to be rude about it. You know, it's like, I understand, maybe you like this unit more than the other one, but I'm just placing it based on their, you know, how their kit works, how they're fitting into the meta, and this is basically off my opinion. So get the kit started with the top 10 spot. Now, like I said, last time I believe I had MVP 17 at the 10th spot, but I feel like with it being another, there's already greens in the meta. You still see Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you still see Gohan a lot, you don't see Evokin a lot, but just those two green units, they're just enough to make a difference to put him a little bit down the list. And Androids has been up though, especially with Super 17. This revival cell, I feel like, is still a really good unit. I think people don't give him as much credit where it's due. He's definitely still a top 10 unit. I feel like it's like I mentioned in the last tier list, he just feels a little, he has his times when he shines, and then his times where he just feels underwhelming. That's from my perspective. You know, maybe for other people, because I don't have them, I never pulled them. I got shafted, like I do get shafted on a lot of, you know, banners. So, you know, if I played against him enough to know that he does feel overpowered sometimes, and then in some situations he feels underwhelming, if that kind of makes sense. All right, so moving on to the number 9 spot. I'm personally gonna give this to Goku and Bardock. Now, when you look at Goku and Bardock, they're still a good unit. It's just their color counter, both sides of the equation. You got Frieza being purple, you got Gohan being green, you got Gogeta being green, and then, you know, honestly speaking, you know, this probably is the better meta for the purple units, simply because you don't really see UI a lot, and that just damages Goku and Bardock a lot. They still have their what's it called, indestructible, I think. So that is still a really good mechanic, basically a second life that can't be taken away even if you nullify endurance. They still do really good damage, especially on the Saiyans team, a Sun Family team. They're stacking that sustains damage cut, I believe, on the Goku side. It's like I said, it's a lot of units that I have not pulled. I've only got about 10 or so of these units that's on this list, and some of them I've either skipped or just got shafted. But that is where I'm going to place them, in that number 9 spot. They have moved down a couple spots, but I think they're still in the top 10 for me personally. Now looking at the number 8 spot, personally, I'm gonna give it to UI. He's moved down the list, like I said. It feels like he's starting to become slowly more underwhelming, less underpowered. Because at first when he released, this guy was he was insane. Still one of the better units in my opinion. Having still the mechanics that literally most units do not have. You know, it seems like with every new ultra, they're introducing some form of a new mechanic or something similar to what a previous unit had. But the guy, you know, being able to counter, you know, strike abilities, strike green cards, blue cards, etc., being able to counter, he's literally on a unit that can do that, counter cover changes and still get a free hit off of it with the ultimate. Yeah, that's still pretty OP. Of course, you still have red units in the meta. You don't see Beast a lot, but you do still see him, especially on like maybe a Sun family, maybe a hybrid setup with you know, Ultra Gohan. You still see Super 17 a lot. I still run him a lot on GT. So he's not, yeah, he's still kind of not in the best meta, but at the same time, you still can run him. You know, it just depends. It's up to you. But yeah, looking at the number 7 spot, I'm personally gonna give that to Spirit Bomb Goku. I think this guy, I think for some people they might not even put him this high on the list, but for me personally, even though he's still at the lower end of the top 10, the utility and the healing that he gives off, basically being that sponge, especially for GT, it does kind of suck because, you know, he has a little bit of mini support. He's basically soaking up damage and being able to heal it, especially off his unique ability. And he's also have that it's something in his kit where even if you hit him with an ultimate or a rising rush, it does not kill his endurance effect. So therefore his second life is pretty much safe. So he has a lot of utility that is like what you would want from a defensive unit. He has a lot of survivability, a lot of healing. His ultimate hits like a truck, especially once you have your unique gauge popped, and you know, if it's either 2 or less battle members, yeah, it hits pretty hard. You can lock your opponent in, or you can take away their advantage if there's only one of the battle members left, and you're pretty much guaranteed an LF. So it's like, yeah, the guy, he's pretty much a perfect fit. You know, you can run him with either Super 17 and G4, or just switch it around, put him alongside Super Baby 2. Besides regen for Super Baby 2, GT is an excellent, you know, just team now, simply because of this Goku, and I think he gets way less credit than due. But moving on to the number 6 spot, for me, I'm gonna put G4 there. This guy Zenkai has come a long way since it got released a couple months ago, and you know, ever since, you still see him in the meta being used, even with purple units being out there. I still use him personally. Him just having that sustained damage cut, what is it, like 70% the first time your enemy does like a combo until it ends. He has that. He has the green card. Like he has a lot of things going in his kit. But the thing is, what they did for him mainly was they gave him a little bit of mini support in his Zenkai. Obviously he's more tankier because of the stat boost, all the good stuff. And he also gets a second ultimate if your opponent basically is the last, you know, battle member left. So him and you know, Spirit Bomb Goku has that duo where if you're the last, you know, opponent, it like, well, go ahead, you know, just LF him. You know, there's no way that you're gonna get like just a regular, you know, finish off on the match. And you know, he's still overpowered. I can't say overpowered, but he's still, I would say, he just needed that Zenkai. He already had a plat equip that really fitted him really good, but that was some time ago. And you know, we've all been requesting him to be Zenkai'd alongside a lot of other LFs, but I'm glad that they finally decided, you know, to head in that direction for GT, because they needed it. No buffs last year. It was miserable for GT mains. But yeah, that's what I personally think. I think he fits perfectly right there. Now moving on to the you know, like the higher end of the top 10, basically a top 5. So looking at the number 5 spot, personally for me, I'm probably gonna give that to I'm gonna give it to Beast. I think Beast he's definitely dropped a lot on this list for me. I think before I had him in the top 3, he's dropped down a couple spots. I feel like you know, with everyone saying that he's fallen off, so for me personally, he's sort of fallen off, but at the same time, he's still a great unit. You know, he has a lot of things in his kit, especially with maybe he, you know, I feel like maybe his tanking before he transforms it into Beast doesn't feel as impressive as it used to. You know, especially with him being at the boost system as well. That is the biggest factor for a lot of units, whether or not they're gonna feel even better or feel worse, you know, out of that boost system. So, you know, with Beast, you know, you still running with hybrids, Sun family, you can even running with movies. You got the new Frieza. You know, it's very much possible. He has plenty of teams still. So I feel like a lot of people just push him down because of his tanking. But before, I would say he used to tank pretty solid, you know, even for a unit that's not a defensive unit. And, you know, his blue card hits like a truck when he transforms the Beast Gohan. He's able to take away your Vanish that first time. So you're pretty much guaranteed a guaranteed hit in a way if you time it correctly, right? But that's where I'm going to put him. Some people might not agree, but hey, we all have our own opinions. Let me know where you guys would place your units or who's your top 3 units personally. So we're moving on to the number 4 spot, and I'm gonna give that to LF Super Baby 2. This guy actually, you know, even with the red units in the meta, he's impressed me. I don't have him. As like I mentioned in my other videos, I'm skipping on, you know, the next couple banners until the anniversary. But playing against this guy has definitely impressed me a lot. Not as damaging. I don't feel like he does as much damage as Frieza does, but the utility in his kit as well, especially once you pop his unique gauge, I think he has kind of like that Ultra Broly type of unique gauge, because every time that he pops it, he takes away your Vanish, he takes away your Ki, he destroys your card, so he's kind of leaving you, you know, he's leaving you helpless. And the thing is, I believe he also locks in. I could be wrong, but I do know he takes away your Ki, your Vanish, your cards. So he's pretty much getting a guaranteed combo once he pops that. So I kind of like how they did that with him. That also kind of gives him a little bit more survivability without, you know, like the healing that Spirit Bomb Goku gets. So if you timed it right, you can possibly lock in your opponent, take away their cards, their Ki, and switch it into somebody else that does more damage to them, and pretty much get you a guaranteed kill depending on the situation, right? But I feel like he is definitely a good buff for GT, for regen. You know, I think he's also a fusion warrior too. So eventually, you know, fusion warriors gonna start getting buffed. You know, anniversary is coming around, so I wonder how he's gonna fit later on in that, you know, category and everything. But all right, we're moving on to the number 3 spot, the top 3. Personally, I'm probably gonna give that to 17. Now 17 has moved down a spot since my last tier list, simply because I do remember I ranked him below Ultra Gohan. Now it's like I said, you know, it's not like the gap between them is super wide. It's more of like it's all close, and it all just depends on you personally. You know, for me, Super 17 I think is overall a bit better in terms of kit wise, but when it comes to dealing that damage, especially like super quick, I think Gohan, you know, Frieza might rank a little bit higher than him. But Super 17, speaking of him, great unit. His ultimate gives you AoE damage. You can get an ultimate if you cover change. So basically you can get 2 ultimate hits. And that's and the AoE damage that he does is actually, it's pretty insane. The thing is with this guy, not too much negativities about him. His green card, if you do land it, you're pretty much, it's the same situation with Super Baby 2. You're leaving your opponent helpless. No Ki, no Vanish. They can't rise and rush you. They can't switch out. So all they can do is just take the combo. it's like you know, once you pop it, just you have to be careful, you know. But once you do pop it, it's insane. And also this guy's combo potential is actually really good. You can combo and combo unless your opponent has someone that can destroy cards. You're gonna be comboing for a good minute. So I just feel like he's still in that top 3. You know, I don't think he's gonna move out of that for some time until the anniversary comes around, because I don't even know what we're gonna be getting personally for this you know, this next campaign that we're supposed to be getting. But I think Super 17 is still, he's in that top 3, you know. And if you want to argue it, he could be the top 2, even the number 1 spot still. So that's personally what I think about that. Moving on to the number 2 spot, I'm gonna give that to Gohan. And yes, I moved him down from the number 1 spot. Is it mainly because he's at a type disadvantage? No, but at the same time, yes. Frieza just feels like, you know, obviously he's a counter towards Gohan, but Gohan, you know, with him just being Gohan, he has all these different stuff in his kit. He can counter against your strike cards, I believe your strike blue cards and green cards as well, and pretty much get a guaranteed combo if he has like not a combo, but you know, a blue card. You can combo off of it. He has an AoE green card. AoE greens are like, they're king. They're literally king in this game. I think everyone knows that by now. He has blast armor nullification, and if you don't know what that means he can literally break your blast armor and combo off of that on you. So there's no blast armor towards this guy. That's the one disadvantage, especially that Frieza has against him. You know, but Gohan is just Gohan. It's Gohan Ball Legends. Even with Frieza, in my opinion, being probably the number 1 unit, I think you can argue that it's the same situation like when I did the last tier list between 17 and Gohan. It's not a huge gap. It's still close. You know, put him on the right teams, he can pretty much destroy Frieza. But Frieza is, well, the guy is good. So that's personally what I think. But obviously moving on to number 1 spot, we kind of know who's going to be at the number 1 spot. And I feel like some people might argue this. You definitely could. But I think if you don't want to put Frieza in the number 1 spot, I would say he's still in the top 3. So either way, this top 3, I feel like isn't going to change too much for me. But Frieza is just being Frieza. And then he has a new mechanic. It's like I said, they introduced a new mechanic. Same thing with Gohan. They got him covering, not covering, but countering strike animations. You got Frieza where if he dies, it's not even an endurance effect. He basically gets a second life, and then he does a lot of damage. So it's sort of like he gets basically just a second life, but it's not a revival in a way, because revivals don't do damage. You know, you have an endurance, doesn't do damage. You just get a second life. So yeah, them introducing that. The guy, I've seen some gameplay on him. I played him a couple times. His damage is insane. Once you start letting him, you know, ramp up those cards and start comboing you, yeah, it's GG's. Ultimate hits pretty hard. There's a lot of things that I can go on and on about, but I don't want to make this video super long. So we still have the, you know, the honorable mentions I want to mention as well. But arguably, he's definitely in the number 1 spot. If not, I would say the number 2 spot. But he's gonna stay in the top 3 probably for a minute, depending on what we get in future releases. And it would be interesting to see how this top 5, for me personally, of units age. The GT, you know, it's been like what, since they had their campaign buff, about 2 months, 2-3 months, and you know they're aging pretty well. You know, they're still in the meta. Even out the boost system, they're still doing very well for themselves. Still a top 5 team in my opinion. So that is currently the top 10 list for me. And obviously, for anyone that wants to stay to the end right now, we're gonna look at the you know, the top 15. Now it hurts me to say that I moved 17 down a little bit. He's gonna be at the number 10 spot. It's like I said, you know, we still got a couple greens in the meta, and I feel like with 17, his tank, he doesn't have any Zenkai buffers as well. He hasn't had one for a minute, and he just doesn't tank as well as he used to. Not saying that he doesn't have the utility or the support still, or the overall stability to help the team out. That is what I mainly put him on a top 10 for the last tier list for. But now he's just, it's not, he's starting to age a little bit, not as good, I guess. I don't know, but you guys basically get what I'm trying to say. But looking at the number 12 spot, I'm gonna give that to PyCon and Gogeta. Now, originally I put these guys in the top 10 spot, but they've moved down a little bit. Well, obviously because of Frieza, and you don't see this Cell a lot. I don't think. Well, you still see him, but you're gonna see Frieza more than the Cell. But still, with them being green, even with them being defensive, they're still a good unit. Overall, I think a lot of people, just when they first released, they were talked about really bad. Not a lot of people liked them. Even I didn't like them at first because of how I felt like they weren't going to age too well. But look at us. We're all surprised. They're aging pretty well. Arguably, we're going to get another Fusion Warrior buff for the anniversary, so they might even move right back up this list. So we'll just have to see, right? But looking at the number 13th spot, well, he's already right there. We're going to be Ultra VB. For some reason, I'm gonna keep saying this, Toshi, you shafted me on this. I went in for the second time on this banner and I still got shafted. It's like, when it comes to your favorite characters, Legends is like, nah. You thought you just want to pull him? Nah, get that shaft. Like, come on now, bro. I'm the only character that I actually felt like I went all out for in terms of crystals. They said, nah, get out of here. But I think he's still, you still see him ran on certain teams, and I definitely think he's still relevant. That's kind of what honorable mention is for. If you put a a character on a certain team, and certain teams just make them OP, make them feel like they're back in their prime when they first got released. But we're looking at the number, and I actually have more. I forgot about Ultra GB. But this is basically our last two. Evo Ken coming at the number 14th spot, and Super Vegeta at the number 15th spot. Some people might rank him lower. I wouldn't even argue that, because the guy, as cool as his animations are, and as cool of a unit, the concept of the unit, it just sucks because it's the first standalone premium Vegeta that we've gotten in such a long time, and they just did not do him justice. He was probably in the in PvP for about a week. I don't even know if it was even a week, and he just disappeared. He just disappeared. You don't really see him. You hardly see him. Evo Ken, you hardly see them as well. But on rare occasions, you do see them ran on not Evo Ken, but Universe Rep. Maybe some family, Vegeta clan, somewhere around the mist, right? But it's the same thing with them. They were good for a while. They lasted way longer than Vegeta and Super Vegeta. So I think the biggest issue for them is they take so long to build up, and they're kind of a little bit dependent on that green card to get that cover change, and then get more cards to keep comboing to get that unique gauge filled. So it's kind of the same thing. They just sort of feel like it's a long process of trying to build them up, So yeah, that's personally what I think on my top 15 or top 10 list. These are the honorable mentions right here, and then this will be the top 10, from Cell being in the number 10 spot and Frieza being in the number 1 spot. Now let me know what you guys think. Is my tier list super bad? Is it okay? It can't be perfect. This is just based off of my experiences and everyone's not everyone's, but you know what I get. You're kind of getting what I'm talking about, right? With the meta, and then how their kits align, and just the color, factors. Because sometimes even the color factors don't even really matter, and the unit is just OP like that. But yeah, that's personally what I think. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Maybe this video was helpful for anyone. new to the game, trying to understand where everyone ranks. That's personally where I'm gonna rank everybody. But as always, everyone have a blessed day. It's your boy JB. I'm out.